So my name is Lauren Short. I am the marketing director for FFR Trading. Today I have with us Wendy Kirkland. She is a strategist who works with FFR. Wendy, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to visit with you.
Very excited to learn more about you, and thank you for taking the time to do this. Would you like to maybe just briefly kind of introduce yourself and like what you do for a living?
Okay, I'd be happy to. I am a option trader. I have been trading for about 17 years, and this all started after a flood that wiped out a business that my husband and I were in. We were in a gift shop, and he did decoy carvings, and I painted them, and I did other artwork. And we'd been in that business for 20 some years, and this flood wiped the shop out. It doesn't flood in the mountains of North Carolina, but this certainly was a strange occurrence. And we were out of business in a sense. It took months to dry out and clean out, and then we really didn't have the money to redo the business. And so I ended up taking a couple really short classes on option trading. I actually took our electric money that we had set aside and used that for the classes. And the electric wasn't on anyway. So that's what I did. And it was a good fit for me. And I started making a little money, realizing I didn't know enough, studied some more, made some more. And it ended up being option trading that brought the shop back, and we were able to reopen. So I continued to trade and have now traded like 17 years. And Jack did the shop for another maybe 10 years or so, and then we ended up closing it. And so I'm trying to think now. Maybe after I'd been trading 3 or 4 years, I wrote my first book, because it was like, if I can learn to trade, and I am not a financial educated person, then I could teach other people to trade. And I ended up seeing some patterns and things that were not, again, what is out there in the financial market. It was something I actually saw between indicators that I think it was artwork, and me being an artist that brought me about to see them. And so that is how I started. And from there, I just have been writing books and teaching people, doing classes, and it's what makes me happy.
That's amazing. And I totally would understand how having like a different mindset, like coming from art, could really help give you more of a competitive edge in looking at something like this. So that's pretty interesting to think about.
It really is. And it's something that then I feel that I can teach everyday people. You know, you don't have to have a financial background or a financial degree or whatever to be able to learn to trade options. That it is something truly that just anybody can learn.
That is true, because I think that there is a misconception that a lot of people think you need to have a financial background or go to school for that in order to be good at something like this. But like what you're saying, maybe your background and like the difference of can really add to your portfolio or something. So it's interesting. Yeah. You mentioned you've been trading for about 17 years and
Right.
that you work mostly with options. Would you say
Right.
that's more your niche and like your strong?
Yeah, that definitely is my niche. That I can't say that I have never bought a stock, because I have, or did a little back in the beginning, but it is strictly trading options.
That's awesome.
There's all kinds of variations. You can apply these patterns that I use and teach to different time frame charts. So some folks, if they're working a job or not wanting to be too involved, then maybe you trade daily charts, and that's what you're looking at. There's other folks that want this to be a replacement, where they're involved throughout the day, and they want a day trade or get into a trade and maybe close in the next day or two. And so again, the same patterns can be applied to, say, maybe a 15-minute chart or 10-minute chart. There's folks that, apply it to 3-minute charts and are in and out of several trades a day, maybe even on the same equity. That this has been a crazy market lately with lots of volatility, and they will get in and ride it up, and then when it goes back down, they ride it down, and so on. So it's very, very flexible and fun to use, fun to trade, fun to teach.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned the market and its current state. So that's a good to lead to this. Like, so what is a challenge that you faced while trading that you feel has made you a better strategist in the long run?
It probably really is the flexibility of the patterns and the indicators that I use. That there are some strategies out there that kind of only work, or I don't want to say you're stuck exactly, but they just really apply to certain equities or certain time periods or certain times of the year, or the earnings session times throughout the quarters and so on. And so what I teach is much more flexible than that. And so I think that's kind of a little different niche that I fit into.
That's interesting. That's awesome. And I think that is something, being flexible, something a lot of people aren't maybe comfortable with. So I totally see that as being a great skill. Well, and I guess kind of with that, like, what is your motivation for succeeding with stock market and options trading?
Motivation for succeeding, I guess it's the fact that I like to make money. So that is maybe number one, is the fact that I enjoy being able to earn a good income. Then I love teaching. I love sharing. I love hanging out with people and talking about and discussing trades and indicators and so on. That I feel like it's my community. So it's kind of that little group of things.
Oh, well, that's nice. And of course, we all want to make money. So that's absolutely a great motivation, I feel like. Well, so in your personal life, what is something that you like to do for fun?
I guess I enjoy my grandkids, and so being with them, particularly on the weekends, is a great joy for me. I am still an artist, and I sometimes work on things in the evening or over the weekend. I have changed what I do. I do what is called needle felting, and it's where you take raw wool and poke it with a needle, and the wool that you're using and putting into place almost becomes like paint. You're painting with wool fibers. It's interesting. It's fun.
Sounds like it. That's really cool. Well, and so you kind of mentioned to me before that you've been working on a book that is sort of outside of the stock market. Would you like to share a little bit more about that?
I would love to. I'm gonna actually lift it up because it has just come out. It's called Knowing is Seeing, and it's a book that I've been working on for a few years, and it has really nothing to do with the stock market, except the stock market is part of my life. It is almost what I feel like my whole life has been about, or the reasons behind it. And it is to show that we can create our own lives, that we are kind of in control of that. And so it's something that I don't really talk about very much, but I grew up with a really, really hard life. There was lots of illnesses, there was abuse, neglect, abandonment, and I got married young and had a baby pretty soon. And it was a really tough life. And in my mid-20s, I really discovered and decided and knew that I did not have to let all of that other stuff define how my life was going to play out from there. And that's kind of what this book is about, to show that you really are in control of creating your life. And so many amazing things have happened, one of which was what I just described a few minutes ago about the flood. Here was this major disaster, wiped us out, wiped out other businesses in the area and so on. And yet for Jack and I personally, it became a blessing. It changed our lives. That beyond bringing the business back, we have been able to buy additional property, fix up our home, help our kids off to college they went, and so on. And there's just so many things. I could just tell you one other, totally doesn't have anything to do with trading, but another example of what I'm trying to share. That during this period of time when I was living at home with my parents and life really was not very good, my special place was a tree house. I had a tree house that I could escape to. And so back about 7 years ago, I decided that I thought I wanted to build a tree house, or have a tree house built on this property on top of my mountain for my grandkids. And so there's this fellow, Pete Nelson, that has a TV show. And I went to his website. I'd watched his television show a few times. And I went to his website and I filled out this application that I was interested in having a treehouse built. Well, it didn't take but a few minutes to get an email back to say, sorry, we have tree houses commitments going out 5 years, and there's no way that it could happen. And it did not upset me. And I thought, that's fine. I know that I'm going to have a tree house. I'll just contact somebody else or somebody local, or I'll figure it out and it'll happen. And about 3 days later, I got this phone call from a man that said he had to do with Pete Nelson. And I don't know why he called, but we didn't take but a minute to realize that he had been given my phone number by mistake, that they were building a treehouse for somebody and it was already being worked in a television show in Virginia. And so somehow they gave him my phone number, and we chatted for just a minute, and he asked about the mountain and whatever. And so we talked, and then that was that. Well, another 3 days later, Pete Nelson himself called, and he said that he had talked to this other fella for a minute, and he was going to be in Virginia next week, and he wanted to fly down here and design me a treehouse. So here is kind of an example of kind of the things that I discuss in this book, of what you know is going to be what you true or what you want. Then you put that out there and the pieces just fall into place. You don't have to force it or whatever, that things just start to happen. But it comes from knowing what you want. So I start every day with the stock market, knowing I'm going to be successful, knowing my trades are going to do really well. And so those are the things that I want to teach and to show. And that just kind of touches on a little bit about what the book is about, that it is that we are life creators, and we can really create and have happen anything we want. It is amazing.
I agree with you. And actually, I do think that your book sounds very interesting. Actually, I would love to read it. And I feel like what you're kind of talking about, that is about like your mindset and how you approach things. And like what you're saying, you can create the life that you want. So reading that really can be applicable to anything. Like you really can read something like that and take that mindset into how you're trading and managing.
Exactly. Into trading, into having successful trades, into your family life, into the joy that you feel throughout the day. That, you know, you don't have to wait for something to happen to then, you know, be able to experience joy and to be positive. You can expect that and then just start feeling it throughout the day.
Exactly. And you know, you can create the opportunity to go on a vacation with your family by maybe and retiring by setting up different options accounts or whatnot. So
that's exactly right. Yeah, no, it is true that you just put out what you want and then start working at it, you know, one little step at a time, and the pieces will all fall into place.
Yeah. And you never know, someone might call you. Like that's so funny that happened to you with this treehouse, but you never know who might call you and might fall into your lap to already assist with everything you're preparing for. So
that's exactly right.
I love it. Well, and I guess just kind of looping back into what we were talking about before, you know, why should people feel confident working with you and taking your stock market advice?
I guess maybe one of the things that I feel like separates me or makes me a little bit different is truly I am just an everyday person, that I don't have a financial background. I had a few college classes, but I do not have a financial degree or any other college degree. That I'm an artist. I have 3 kids. I'm a grandmother, great grandmother. I'm just an everyday person that is happy and joyful and does well at trading. And I can teach anyone who has an interest to be able to be successful in their trading. That nothing is so hard that it's, you know, gonna take years and years to be able to understand it. I write books in a way that are easy to read, easy to absorb the information. And I think that just sets me apart. It makes me a little bit different than sometimes people write books to make them complicated so that other folks think, well, I can't do it. I have to hire them to do it. You know, and that is not where I'm coming from.
I love that. It makes it reasonable for everyone. It's approachable. And I think that is the problem, is being able to communicate things like this for everyone else to understand. So
right.
That's awesome that we're fortunate to have someone like you in the marketplace who can help.
Well, thank you.
This. And do you have like a best piece of advice for anyone who is interested in wanting to invest?
I guess my best advice is maybe to know, there we go, knowing and seeing, know that you can do it, that you have what it takes to learn, and then you can apply the knowledge, and that you know that you will be successful.
I love that. Yes. Start off confident. You're going to do it.
Right. Right.
Well, awesome. Well, we're kind of wrapping up here. Is there anything extra that you would like to share with everyone?
I don't know that I have anything specific. This was fun, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate anyone else that in the end ends up being interested in this and reaches out to us.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time and you sharing everything today. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful to get to know you more and to learn about your history just across the board. And again, your book sounds amazing. So thank you for sharing about that too. And yeah, just thank you.
Thank you very much. This was fun.